If you are short on kitchen cupboard space, consider picking up a few dollar store wall-mounted wire racks to make this productive and cool idea. I'm outfitting the size of the racks to 3 reclaimed wood boards I already had in my stash. Now I'm measuring and cutting all the boards to the same length using a miter saw. To create some support boards, I'm selecting a lightweight cedar strip and cutting 2 strips to the width of the 3 boards. I'm placing each cedar strip across the 3 boards, then marking 2 screw holes over each bottom board. Moving the cedar strips to a piece of scrap wood, I'm using a small drill bit to create pilot holes into each of the penciled areas. Pre-drilling holes before screwing reduces the potential of the wood splitting. Flipping over all the larger boards, each cedar strip is being positioned near the top and bottom of the boards, then screws inserted into each hole, which helps make install easier. The screws are being inserted slowly using short bursts to reduce the potential of the wood splitting. Flipping the 3 boards good side facing up, I'm now designing what I will use this project for by selecting a stencil theme. Deciding on a coffee theme, I'm arranging a fresh coffee stencil from Funky Junk's Old Sign Stencils and the hooks to verify all the placements desired. Desiring a rustic coffee crate vibe, I'm selecting Coal Black by Fusion Mineral Paint for the stenciling. Desiring the racks to be black, I'm placing them on butcher paper, then using a metal-friendly black spray paint to cover them from all angles. This high-heat black grill paint dried super fast and left a gorgeous durable matte finish. I'll certainly be using this again. Attaching the wood boards onto the wall, I'm using a construction level along the top and the sides to ensure the position is completely level. Before attaching the bottom hooks, I'm hanging a mug on the hooks to ensure the mug will hang within the wood frame. Now I'm marking the hole and attaching the hooks with screws using a level once again. I'm now using a ruler to help position the next 2 hooks evenly, and you are left with the handiest and coolest mug hanging rack possible. Each hook costs just over $1, making this a very price-efficient yet quality piece that will style up your coffee space to the hilt. And with all those decadent hooks, there's plenty of space to hang mugs, your coffee, or anything else desired. This same concept could be used to hang garden tools, art supplies, or pots and pans. The sky's the limit.
The one thing I didn't like about my cupboards is how stuffed and crammed they got, but I had a solution. First thing I want to pick up is a mop rack, and they are going to be perfect. I'll need 3 of these. Next, we're going to get some mop handles. Just the handles, that's all we need. On the rack, what you want to do is on the hook, you want to bend it forward. That way it goes directly against the wall and doesn't stick out too much. You can use a pair of pliers or your hands. Just get it as straight as possible. Next, what we're going to do is paint. Just some black spray paint will do the job. Now, this is a great time to teach a lesson on spraying. We want to use little bursts and not too much at a time. Spray paint likes to run. So, to keep it from dripping, we want to make sure we just do small, even little coats. If it takes 2 or 3, that's fine because spray paint can dry pretty quick. So once you get this on there, it's good. Now, on the handles, we don't want to cut off the top. We want to cut off the bottom with the screw end. So what we'll do is mark it exactly the length we want, and we're going to use a metal saw because these handles are metal. When you're cutting metal, you want to use a good blade that's used for metal and go slow. Once you get it cut all the way through, just snap it. It'll come right off. This is not the thickest metal, so it's good to snap. Next, we're going to lay out our 2 pieces. Remember, we measured and cut them already, and then we're going to take the first rack, and that's going to get us our width. We're going to put the first one all painted at the top. We're going to put the next one in the middle, a few inches down, and then the third one will go at the bottom. The way we're going to join these to the handles is we're going to use black zip tie. Just go ahead and put it around the top, put it in, and you're going to pull it tight. We're going to do this to both sides and cut off the excess. This is the other side, and we're going to put that on too. Now, I made sure that I put 2 on each side on each rack. That gives it enough friction to where when we load it, it won't fall down. Once you get it cut, twist it around the back. Now, on the screws for the wall, you want to actually leave them sticking out a little bit, not all the way against the wall, because we're going to take those handles and slip them right on there. Next, it's time to decorate. I thought a little bit of plates and some coffee mugs would look great. But there's one thing, it just didn't look right to me. I knew there was something else I could do. So what I did was added some greenery. and look how amazing that turned out. I just love it. You can put as many or as few on there as you want, and absolutely turned out great and took out a little bit of that excess clutter in my cabinets. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did making it, and what an addition to the side of the wall and to our kitchen. Today's project had me going down to the hardware store to grab some tension rods, also some 1x6 pieces of board. First thing I want to do though is I wanted to cut each of these 1x6s at 24 inches. I'm going to build a box and I need all four sides to be equal lengths. Once I got all four pieces cut, it was time to form the box. I got the top and the bottom, and then I put the sides on. And the way I fastened them with my brand nailer, and I put all of those in with 3 nails on each side. I also cut another board and I put one at the top and the bottom so that I can make some strength with the box. Cut one last piece and I made a shelf with it, and I put that in and cut that. Next I went to some 1x4s and I cut 2 of these pieces because I want to make a drawer. I also got some wood glue out and put that down so that I could put my braces on there with little cut pieces of 1x2. Once I got those nailed in, the glue's going to set up in about an hour and make it really strong. Next, it was to take those 1x4s and I got to build a door that's going to go across the whole front. So I took 7 pieces and I'm going to build a brace also for those. Once I get those in, I'm going to brad nail all of those down and put them and make them really strong. I also want to make sure this door is really strong, so I'm going to put more than 1 nail in each of those. Also, I did lay some glue down to make it strong, but I need to cut this door in half. So I cut it right down the middle, pulled it apart. Next, I traced out an outline of a coffee mug. Take some black craft paint. I'm going to go ahead and just paint that all on there. I think it turned out really cool. I love adding that special little decor to all of my projects. It kind of just gives it a little bit more to it when you take a look. It actually turned out really nice. I like it. It only took 1 coat of paint to make it good. Now the door that's on the bottom, it's time to put the hinges on. I always want to make sure that I pre-drill because I don't want to split any of the wood when I put the screws in. I'm going to put a hinge on both sides of this. Next, I want to make sure when the door opens that it doesn't flop open, so I grabbed a little black chain and put that on. Now, the kicker right here is on the tension rod. This is where I'm going to hang my cups from. I'm going to put those brackets in, and it's adjustable, so I can put it in there with the little bumpers on each side, put it in place. I can make it smaller, tighter, but it looks really good in there. I'm going to put some knobs on these doors. That's the last one. And then I'm going to take it inside and mount it. Once I do that, I'm going to grab some hooks, put them across that tension rod on the top, and I'm going to start hanging my cups. And it's also time, once I get these hung, to go ahead and decorate. I'm going to put some of my coffee pods in there also and put a little sign, close it up. Look at that. Actually looked out pretty good. I like how it turned out. And the cool thing is the doors open really nice and smooth, including the bottom one. And look at that. Super cool. I can actually leave it open as part of the decor, and it turned out nice. I can change all my mugs, and I just like how smooth it is when it closes. And the cool thing is, it looks like this little smiley face is looking at me. I can actually not unsee this from now. But it turned out cool. I hope this inspires you to build your own inexpensive tension rod coffee holder.
I grabbed 3 pieces of terrazzo stone. I added glue to one side and then put 2 pieces together in a T shape. I added more liquid adhesive and then added the top piece. I let the glue dry and was able to enjoy it right away.
Here's a really cool way to repurpose some shutters. Give your shutters a good wipe down. Cut down your wood to length. Give your boards a quick sand to make sure they're smooth. Place the boards on the shutters with the smooth side facing forward. Measure the board for the bottom. Now it's time for paint. Add some cute decor. You've got yourself a cute side table or a plant stand.
Next time you're at Dollar Tree, grab 10 floral foam rings, a pizza pan from the kitchen aisle, take some Gorilla Construction adhesive, spread it around on one of the rings. Take another ring, place it on top. You're then going to continue this process. Once you have all your rings stacked together, you just come in with a foam brush and just smooth it around. I took some Mod Podge and I sprayed on the foam rings and then I rolled it in the dirt. To get the desired color that I wanted, I then spray painted the entire thing. Once it was dry, I took my construction adhesive again, and then I glued my pizza pan onto the top. Here is my gorgeous little side table for my porch.
I found this fun shower curtain. I'm going to start by painting the table. Use a utility knife and run it along the edge. I want to seal the paint to protect it. Put a layer of Mod Podge all over the glass, and now I'm going to lay the shower curtain onto it. I want to trim off the excess, add one more layer of Mod Podge over the top for added protection. This little table is so cute now, perfect for sunny days on the balcony.
Get this clay pot sealer and give it a nice gentle spray. Give them a coat. This Rust-Oleum, this silicone glue, waterproof, flexible. Pull my jute rope right into it. So I'm going to do the same thing right there. Open up the silicone. Put this all around the top, centered right on there. There we have my side table. I think this is exactly what you might want to make this summer.
The next time you're at the home improvement store, be sure to grab a couple of wooden crates. I'm going to use some brown milk paint to paint both of the crates inside and out. I'm going to use a chip brush, which is a really loose brush, with some white paint to cover the crates. But I'm going to add a little bit more white paint so that I see a little bit less of that brown. And it's time to attach the legs to the bottom of one of the crates. I'm going to attach all four this way. I want to paint the legs with the same white paint. I've grabbed this old cutting board, so I'm going to paint it the same creamy white that I painted the crates. I'm just going to use some wood glue to kind of tack them together. It's such a fun way to make a new piece of furniture and very inexpensive.
Start with 4 foam wreath rounds from Dollar Tree and paint them white with chalk paint. Glue 3 of the foam wreath rounds together with hot glue. Take stone spray paint and cover a stack of 3 and a stack of 2 foam rounds. Take 2 wood hoops and 1 metal hoop. Spray paint them white. Then use the stone spray paint after. Take a pizza pan and paint it white. Then use the stone spray paint after. Attach the hoops together with hot glue to create a 3D sphere. Use wood beads and hot glue them to secure the attachment to the foam rounds. Place the sphere on the foam stack. Cut 2 crevices in the foam to place the metal hoop. Then secure with hot glue. Place the 2 leftover foam rounds on the back of the pizza pan and secure with hot glue. Use rope and hot glue to reinforce the placement of hoops around the circumference of the circle. There you have it, an inexpensive way to create your own modern faux stone side table for your home.
Let's head down to our local hardware store and grab a pre-made round tabletop and set a planter on top. We need to draw a circle around the edge. Next, we're going to grab some Jenga pieces. We got to measure them out. We're going to glue these down all over. We're going to put this wood stain on, going with the grain of the wood. Just wipe it with the grain of the wood. Now it's some clear polyurethane. It's just mix the 2 parts of the epoxy together. We also need some color. Just lay that clear stuff right out and mix it all down with the stir stick. Next, it's time for turquoise. We're going to make sure that we rub it all over the board. Next, we're going to take some white. Next, grab your hair dryer and we're going to spread out that white epoxy. We want a second coat on top of the base. Mixing it as you go and start spreading it out. And you can use it for storage for blankets in the living room. Go ahead and put your tabletop on. So shiny.
Giving this little side table a makeover. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually give it a coat of black paint. Now I've taken some creamy white paint and I've added water to it. I've ripped up some newspaper and I'm going to apply some of this paint. Taking pieces of the scrunched up paper, I press it into the paint and wiggle it around. Keep repeating the process until you get to the end. Now the tabletop is dry, I'm going to use this stencil. I'm going to give it 2 coats of this gloss decorator's varnish. Here's my finished tabletop. I think it looks quite effective. It's a very easy technique to do. I'm going to apply both these colours, the green and the blue, randomly over the top. I'm now going to apply 1 coat of a water-based top coat. I've used some cardboard and I'm just going to cut 1 edge, cutting very randomly on the bottom, grooves in it. In here I have some dark green paint and I've combined it with their water-based top coat. I apply the green paint on top and then taking my cardboard, going to randomly scrape into it. Okay, so then we go on to the next bit, working just randomly, but I decided to follow some of the contours with a metallic gold gel pen. And here's my finished table. I actually decided to paint the edges gold to tie in the gold that I had done on the top.
over to Dollar Tree and grab one of these oversized bins for these awesome grill hacks. Grab a fitted sheet and slide it right on over the top. Makes a wonderful tablecloth. Pour some water into a tall pitcher. You've now created a hand washing station. Simply squirt the soap into your hand, pull the spout, wash your hands, and then dry. Place your ketchup, mustard, whatever you like inside the muffin dish and use this to serve with them. Once you're done grilling that yummy, delicious food, clean your grill with an onion. Simply slice it in half and rub it back and forth. Grab an oversized tub from the dollar store, fill it with ice, and place a bunch of your drinks in it. This will help the drink stay nice and cold. Stop bugs from getting into your drinks by pouring the drink in the cup and then placing muffin liners over the top of the cups.
Clear your space and hang up a shower curtain. Set up your equipment, add some lounge chairs, and when it gets dark, enjoy a snack while watching a movie.
I got my bucket from Walmart. Take a half by a 24-inch galvanized pipe from your local home improvement store. With liquid nails and the pipe base, I glued it to the interior base and allowed plenty of time to dry. Attach the half pipe base that was glued. Fill with ice and beverages. Add napkins and other party essentials for this easy DIY party station.
Cut 2-inch sections of our pool noodle. We're going to have 1 in the center and 6 around the outside. And we're going to place it on the top. You want to cut all the way around. Cut that small piece out of my noodle. And then your candle will fit in there just like this. Now I'm going to connect them. I'm using a hot glue gun, but it is on a low temperature. I have a big rubber band in my hand, and I'm going to put that around here and let this dry. Once it's dark, we will turn our candles on and float them in the pool.
To start, I'm going to need a wood crate, and I'm going to give this a good coat of paint here. I am using a top of a desk that I am no longer using anymore. And I'm going to take my painted crate and place it bottom side down. Then I'm just going to drill some holes and add some screws. Make sure to use screws that aren't going to go all the way through the table, but are long enough to really keep it secure. Then we just flip it over and we have this low table that's going to offer some great floor seating. To make it even more cozy, I'm adding some cushions to the ground. It's a really great conversation area to enjoy a drink or some snacks or even a meal. And this makes the perfect outdoor seating area.
Stop your tablecloths from blowing away. Grab some clothespins and clip the clothespins onto the tablecloth to hold the tablecloth into place. Grab some shower caps, and you can use these to cover the top of your food to store it. You can also use these to put around your shoes. This will keep your shoes together, keep the dirt out of your tent and car. Grab a cake carrier, open it up, and place your plates and your silverware, napkins, and more into your cake holder. This will now help you transport any of your paper products when you're camping and keep them all together. Grab some condiment bottles from your local store. I'm grabbing a pancake mix and placing the batter into the squeeze bottle. When it's time to use it, I'll simply squirt the batter into the pan and cook up the pancake. Grab a foil pan from the store. You'll also need some charcoal and you'll need a cookie rack. Place the charcoal into the foil pan and then place the cookie rack on top and you've made a portable grill. Grab some lint from your dryer, stuff it into the toilet paper tube and give it a few squirts of hand sanitizer. Place this onto your grill and light it and you can easily get your grill going. Now you can use your grill with ease.
Grab a cupcake liner, cut a slit in the bottom, and slip it over the bottom of a popsicle. This is going to catch any drips.
Get a styrofoam cooler. I found mine at Walmart. Take a piece of cardboard, trace with a Sharpie, and cut with an X-Acto blade to make it slightly smaller than the lid of the cooler. Take a piece of upholstery foam and trace with a Sharpie and cut with an X-Acto blade. Hot glue the upholstery foam to the top of the lid with the cardboard on top of that. Take a blanket, rug, or textile of your choice and cut it to size to the top of the lid. Fold and hot glue to the lid and trim the excess. Use an old sheet, cut to size, and wrap around the cooler base. Hot glue all the way around the base of the cooler and trim off the excess. Cut the remainder of the blanket, fold over, and hot glue the edges to clean them up. Wrap the blanket pieces around the base with hot glue. Add tassels from the blanket around the top of the base of the cooler to give it a boho look. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own boho DIY storage ottoman for your home for less than $15.
The first part is making sure that the bottom is flat and level. When you're stacking the cinder blocks on top of each other, always make sure you use an all-purpose construction adhesive. It's going to hold the blocks together so there's no slippage or or having them fall apart. On a project like this, you're always going to want to make sure you're wearing gloves. You're going to lay and stack 4 of these cinder blocks together. You're going to do this for both sides. Always want to make sure I take my level and just make sure it looks good. Then we're going to take 2 more, turn them the flat way. Use the construction adhesive, lay it down, and put the bricks on. These are going to lay sideways, facing each other. The next thing we're going to do, on the back half of the last cinder block, we're going to put some construction adhesive and lay this cinder block facing up. Now that we've got our cinder blocks in place, you're going to use a total of 7 on each side. The next step is putting the wood in. And here it is, our final project. I think it just turned out great. I literally built this thing for less than $60.
So the first thing we're gonna do is place it upside down. I've got these cushions that tie, and you simply set them on top. Another option is to actually put your crate right side up and then place your board on top. So a number of ways that you can mix and match this. You can make things like this that store well.
Go ahead and grab yourself a tomato cage and also grab some wood shims. Grab a scrap board, take the thick end. We're going to get a nice clean hole and we're going to do this to all of our shims. What we're going to do is take a towel and just dip it in there, make sure it's all covered. Just wipe it on there. The sticky points that go into the ground, we don't need those. It's just going to snap right off. Now we're going to grab us some copper wire. We're going to put that through the shim with the hole in it. Just use it like a twist tie. Go all the way around. Once you get the second layer done, we're going to grab us a solar light from Dollar Tree. Take off that small part on the bottom, the stake. We don't need that. And let it float right in the middle. Now we're going to work on that last circle. And when the night starts to fall, watch this. That thing is going to light up. And you don't even have to turn it on or off. It works its magic automatically and recharges during the day. Headed down to my local Dollar Tree. I'm going to start with these glass beads. I'm going to also head over and get some rubbing alcohol. Next, I grabbed this bowl. Got it from Home Depot. I'm going to grab some sand. Start putting it in the bottom. So you want to fill it up to where when you get your bowl, you're going to kind of be level with the top. And it has a firm foundation. Let's go ahead and start putting some more sand in so that it holds it in place. So level it out. Make sure that bowl is firm. We don't want any spillage or that thing moving when we light it up. Go ahead and put the metal bowl in, and then remember those glass beads and start placing them all the way around. Take that rubbing alcohol and pour a little bit in there. Give it a little bit of a flame and it's going to light right up. If you need to put it out, you're just going to put a metal lid on top. It's great for just relaxing nearby.
Grab an old door from your local thrift store. Place it on 2 sawhorses. Begin by removing any hinges and sanding it smooth. Once it's sanded, blow away the dust and add some primer. After it's been coated in primer, add the paint color of your choosing. We decided to go with the fresh white, but you can do any color. Paint the sawhorses as well. After it's dry, carefully get rid of any glass using a hammer, pliers, and protective gear. Next, secure the door to the sawhorses and seal the paint. The mini window we removed allowed us to perfectly place our umbrella inside. Now you have a gorgeous picnic table for all those summer parties.
I'm going to just start and wrap this over and under the front edge. I'm going to take my wisteria and I'm going to lay it here the way I want, and then I'm just going to take zip ties. Those will hold securely even in the wind. I'm just going to tuck that down out of the way for right now. Now these are more like a wisteria bush, and I'm going to spread this out a little, and I'm just going to add this one right to the middle in the front right here. And I'm just going to continue to add these right along the front like so. I bought some beautiful silk peony bushes, and I'm going to cut them apart, spread these out, and I'm going to tuck these right in for some beautiful color. So for your next party, your next event, you might want to think about doing something like this, and I think you can see how easy this was to put together.
So we're going to start with some bricks of dry floral foam. This is a glue skillet. And then we'll take those 2 bricks and we're going to stick them together. Now that we've given it a minute, now we can come back in with more hot glue and we're going to secure this to the base of the container. Now we'll give this a minute to harden up. Now we have this beautiful hanging geranium bush. So we're going to start by taking the stem and just working it right into the styrofoam. Up next, we're going to work in some delphinium. Now we have some of these pretty pink flowers. So these are just inexpensive filler bushes. And to bring out a little bit more pink, we're going to use this ranunculus bush. So we're just going to take this whole bush, find the perfect spot, and then we can separate the flowers. Here is how our window box or planter turned out, depending on how you use it.
Take 2 styrofoam blocks and glue them together. Take that wire hanger and bend it. Take 2 pipe cleaners and twist the ends together, wrapping the pipe cleaners up and around the hook. Start to stick the faux stems into the top and sides. Now take some faux flowers and stick them into the center face and hang your new flower arrangement.
Here I am at Dollar Tree. I'm going to start this project with a couple of grease splatter screens. Take the screen off. We have this little cone, so I'm just going to cut that. So this is just a Dollar Tree candle holder, and we have our piece of foam, and then we have the 2 metal rings. I want to cut Gorilla Clear Grip and hot glue because I want it to stay. You want the pretty side on the outside. A little mini glue stick cut in half gave it a little bit more support, put down in there. And I'm just going to take and wrap that right around a generous amount of hot glue on the back of the acrylic gems. But I think I'd like to add a row of them down here also. I'm going to put hot glue right down on our mirror. And I have one of these small discs of foam like you can get at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put that right down on there. I have all kinds of these pink Dollar Tree roses, and you're going to cut them off and then add a little dollop of hot glue, and we're just going to stick these right to the foam. I want to put our candle in there. Only dollar store supplies. Look what you can make. This will add some sparkle to your tabletops.
We're going to start with this container, and we're going to simply just cut our brick in half. Now we can take our bricks of floral foam and wedge them inside. Up next we have some of these ferns, and simply wedge them right in the middle, fluffing them out, adjusting them. I'm just going to take our stems and work them into the foam. Now we have this really pretty eucalyptus. We'll just poke them right in. And here is how our arrangement turned out. I absolutely love it.
Head to your local dollar store and pick up a clear plastic bowl, a metal flower vase, a floral foam square, and some faux flowers. Pull a wood candle lid from a used candle and remove the rubber ring. Spray paint this candle lid, the clear plastic bowl, and the metal flower vase. Use a strong adhesive and glue the candle lid to the bottom of the painted metal vase. Glue the painted bowl to the top of the candle lid. Give the entire footed pedestal bowl a light coat of white spray paint. Put some hot glue on the 4 corners of the square florist foam and glue it to the bottom of the bowl. Take pieces of faux greenery and stick them in and around the base. Next, take some bunches of faux flowers, stick the separated flowers into the florist foam. If you have any bare spots showing, fill those areas with a little green moss. Place the pedestal floral arrangement on a dollar store charger plate and surround it with green moss. I hope this inspired you to create a beautiful floral pedestal centerpiece for under $10.
When you can't find the color of flowers that you want, I have an easy solution for you. So you're going to take all of your branches and you're going to spread them apart, and then you're going to slide the leaves down the stems so that they are nowhere near the blooms. And then you're just going to spray until you get the color that you want on your flowers. Takes just minutes for them to dry. I want to take all of those flowers. Now we're going to push the leaves up. You're going to take and cut those with a piece of wire cutters. Now I'm going to use a piece of dry floral foam, and then I'm going to use a piece of floral tape because I don't want that to slide. And what I'm going to do first is go around the edge, and we're just going to go up and in between. And we're going to continue to fill in our arrangement in the same way. And then you're going to go back down and go in between. So if you can't find the color of flowers that you want, or if they're way too expensive, don't overlook that idea.
I found one of these larger ones for $2.50. We're going to be using this vinyl tablecloth. So we're just going to gather up our fabric, going to take our scissors and cut it off. I'm actually going to string 2 zip ties together, and what we're going to do is gather our fabrics. So now that we have our little cluster of fabric secured, what we can do then is take our zip tie and tie it off. Cut the excess zip tie off. All I've been doing is just pulling a little bit, piece by piece, of the top until we have that nice pleating. So we're just going to snip all of that excess off. Take our ribbon. I'm just going to take it and place it right here and secure it once more with a zip tie. Now it's time to add some flowers. Dip them in our glue skillet, and I'm placing it on the inside of this. So now we cut off the individual leaves, and what we can do then is just poke them right in. So then we can take a few more of these wisteria stems. Now we have some of these beautiful pink roses, and here is the finished ball. You can do this in different colors for different seasons and holidays, and varied sizes for added texture.
Pick up some faux flowers at your local dollar store. Pull the top layer of petals off the flower and remove the inner plastic cage. Reassemble the flower, grab a box of plaster of Paris and some water, and mix according according to the manufacturer's directions. Dunk the flour into the plaster and swirl around. Take a tea light candle and set in the middle of the wet flour, and wrap a rubber band around the outside. After about an hour of drying, remove the rubber band and tea light. If after a flour has dried, you find that some of the flour's color is still showing, you can re-dunk it in the plaster of Paris to get everything covered. I love the white powdery finish of the plaster-covered flour. If you want to take it a step further, brush some metal leaf adhesive sizing to the petals of the flour. Gently brush off the excess with a small brush. Slip in a tea light, light the candle, and enjoy.
Check out these colorful bowls. You're going to turn it upside down. You're going to take that heat tool and just press down. And we're going to want to do that to a couple more of these. I'm just going to use this to trace. Start with one of the blue bowls and one of the clear ones. And I'm going to take some Gorilla Clear Grip. You're going to want to put this on and then let it sit. Make sure that you get this exactly right. One more blue bowl. Let that sit right there. You see how you can see the battery packs down at the base? I'm going to take some ivy. See how you can disguise that a little bit. Decided to add a few white poppies. And you can see how much light these will bring to a tabletop.
Next time you're at the dollar store, grab a large wreath form, 2 small wreath forms, and 1 3D wreath form. Assemble the 3D wreath form according to the instructions. Start to cut the wire rings from each other on the large wreath form and the 2 small wreath forms. Take the second to largest ring and place in the center of the wire globe. Take 2 of the second to smallest rings and attach them horizontally between the center ring and the bottom of the globe. Take the smallest rings and attach them horizontally to each end of the globe, securing with floral wire. Starting at the top of the globe, tie a piece of jute twine in a secure knot. Start to loop and weave the jute twine over and under. Once finished with one section, skip the section beside it and start to weave the jute in the next section in the same direction. Work your way up the globe and weave the jute in every other section. Once you have the horizontal sections complete, start to weave the alternate sections vertically. Take a light cord and attach it to the top of the globe with the bulb hanging in the center of the globe. Use a very low wattage bulb that does not get hot. Hang your woven jute light fixture from a hook on the ceiling and turn on the light.
Run to the dollar store and grab some jute cord. You're going to need either 1 or 2 plastic bottles. Now for this larger bottle here, there's a groove that I'm going and cutting into. For this smaller container, I'm going down to the first groove and cutting it just like I did for the larger bottle. So now we're going to go and take some wire. You're going to want to go and cut a 3-inch section and then go up just about an inch more. So you have 3-inch pieces and you also have 4-inch pieces. So we're going to take a small amount of hot glue, put it onto one end, and we're going to go and slowly wrap the jute. We're going to go and bend this in half, make some points. Now take some hot glue on the outer portion of it, take it and stick it down onto some of your burlap. Now we're going to go and take some of the jute and we're going to glue it around the bottom along with all the way to the top of this cut piece of bottle. So go and figure out where you're going to place these and start to hot glue them down. Now I chose fairy lights for this craft. To secure the fairy lights, make sure to use a little bit of hot glue. For the smaller bottle, we're going to go and wrap it in jute first, and then we're going to go and glue down the petals. Now the only difference is that the wire should be facing inwards, so it's hidden by some of the burlap. Now stick the fairy lights in place. Now you're ready to go and hang these up in a place of your choosing in your home.
Pick up 1 garden border from your local Dollar Tree. Cut the spike bases off, add small black zip ties to attach the wreath form to the border fence. Wrap the border fence with small twinkle lights all the way around. Add greenery of choice around the top of the border fence with hot glue. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own boho-inspired pendant light for your home for less than $10.
We are going to start with 7 of these bowls. You're also going to need some E6000. Just basically go around. You're going to place it on top. We're going to do this again. So I'm going to give these a little bit of time to cure. I'm going to be taking my E6000 and I'm going to go around the top of this, stack it on top, and we're going to do this one more time. I'm using Dixie Belle Vintage Duck Egg Chalk Paint. So I'm actually going to use E6000 for this step. Line it up, and then we're going to let that sit until it dries. And we are going to trace around the inside of the hole that I created. You actually will not need to paint the underside, just the sides and the top. I'm going to start with the bottom part Tilt that up. So we are going to take a solar light, placing it over, put the top part of our solar light, and it's gonna nestle right in. Here is my finished DIY cordless solar lamp for my outdoor patio. These cute containers came from the Dollar Tree. To attach the pink to the purple, I'm gonna go ahead and place the adhesive about right in there. Slide together, very firm hold. Just pop it right in the middle there. I've got a large adhesive strip and I'm just going to put it on the back side of my sconces, and then I'm going to attach it to the wall. I think it turned out super cute and not too bad for only $15.
The next time you are at your local dollar store, pick up some wire garden hanging baskets. Turn one wire basket upside down and place on top of a second basket. Secure together by using 3 zip ties that are placed equidistant from each other. Take a string of LED lights, hang the battery box inside the basket globe and connect to the top. Turn the lights on and wrap the lights evenly around the globe, both vertically and horizontally. Secure the end of the light string to the basket using a twist tie. Using a leafy garland of your choice, start to tuck and glue the different leaves to the wire basket globe. Now, remember all those chains and hooks that you removed from the baskets? Let's put them to good use. Reconnect these chains of different lengths to the hooks and tighten the hook back together using some pliers. If you have a porch swing, here is a fun way to hang the globes without drilling additional holes into your porch ceiling. Thread the stick through your porch swing ceiling hooks to create a horizontal rod and hang your garden globes from the branch. Use your remote to turn the lights on and enjoy the warm glow of your new outdoor lighting.
Run to the dollar store and go and grab a glass bottle. We are going to start off this craft with a cleaned out plastic bottle. So now we're going to line this up with the bottle. Go and draw a circle for where this is going to go and fit. Go and cut it out, put your glass into the hole. Now we're going to go and paint our bottle. Let it dry. Let's go and get these fake pearls and start to string them with some pipe cleaner, but leave one end unbended. We're going to go and poke some holes into our plastic bottle. Take the pipe cleaner, stick it in there, take the other pieces, go and stick them in as well. Hot glue where it meets with the pipe cleaner and also the bottle. Got some fairy lights, and we're going to go and stick them into where we have the center hole. Now let's take this base here, stick it in place. I am using cotton for this. Now let's go and glue these down. Use your fingers to go and poof it out. Go and use a fork to really go and poof it out even more. This cloud lamp is sure to light up any room, is so much fun to go and make, and is upcycled.
I'm going to grab me some solar lights. Next, head over to the hardware store. I'm going to grab me about 100 feet of nylon rope. First thing I got to do is blow up this dollar beach ball. Then I got to get out some Portland cement. Make sure it's not concrete, but cement. You want it actually really thin because we need to coat that rope. Now, on that beach ball, just start laying that rope. You're just going to start roping it all the way around. Once you get to the end, what you're going to do is tuck that last bit in underneath the rope. And it's going to hold it in place. Then what we can do is move on to possibly adding a little bit more cement. Make sure you cover all that rope. We want it to stiffen up as best we can. Let it sit for a couple hours once we get it covered. Once it's covered, take a knife and just puncture the beach ball. Once we get it all the air out, just go ahead and pull it through one of the bigger openings between the ropes. Now, I want to clean it up. Took a little bit of a plastic fork and just clean up the edges. Don't want anything flaking off. Take a squirt bottle and start squirting all the string, and you're just going to powder it with the cement. Just keep doing that all over. What this does is make it thicker and strengthen it up. We're going to grab that dollar light again. Take out the bottom part. You're going to turn it around, put it in, and that's what's going to stick into the ground. Go ahead and put it right into the ground, right in the area you want to put it. And then you're going to take your string orb and you're going to put it right over the light, right in the middle, and lay it on down. Once it's in place, it just looks really good, just sitting there. It's waterproof because it's on the nylon rope and it's made out of cement. But once night comes, look at it light up. It is amazing to see from your yard and from the street.
Run to Dollar Tree and pick up one large plastic bowl. Use a palette knife and drywall spackle to apply to the exterior of the bowl. Create a hole in the bottom of the bowl in the size of a light socket. Finish spackling around the hole. Add Dixie Belle's Slick and Stick to the inside of the bowl with a paintbrush. Take Modern Masters metallic gold paint, at least 2 layers. Sand the surface of the spackled exterior. Take Rub and Buff and buff into the surface of the bowl interior. Take a hanging light kit from Amazon, add a light bulb of choice, hang in place, and plug in. Create your own pendant light for less than $15.
Next time you're at the thrift store, pick yourself up a couple of lampshades. To begin my project, I just took apart the lampshade, so I just began with some scissors, cutting apart the fabric and ripping it off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this little knob back on. Then I'm going to go ahead here with a hot glue gun, just going to attach this faux moss onto the wired parts. I came in with these solar fairy lights and wrapped them all around my lampshade. At night, once the solar lights have charged, they light up and they provide just a cool atmosphere for my backyard.
First, let's prep the pumpkins. I spray painted all of the pumpkins a basic white. I lightly sprayed the pumpkins with a green spray paint, kind of like an overspray. Once they're completely dry, then we can reattach the pumpkin stems. I took an upholstery needle and pierced through the ball to create a little tunnel. And then I push floral wire through to the other side with the folded edge. Then on the other side, you've got two little tails. Just take each one of those tails, fold it around the edge of the pumpkin ball, and just stick it into the side of the ball. Now is the really fun part. We get to glue the pumpkins onto the styrofoam ball. Once the pumpkins and succulents are glued to the ball, you will notice there are still nooks and crannies, so fill those with moss. Finally, tie a ribbon to the wire loop that you made earlier on, and you now have a beautiful pumpkin ball that is ready for hanging.
So we're going to remove this stem. I'm using raw silk fusion mineral paint, and I'm going to mix it with baking soda to give it some texture. And the paint's still wet. Sprinkle a little bit of the baking soda on top and just sort of go like this. While our pumpkin is drying, I've got an ordinary $couple wreath, and I'm going to cover it with water, soften it, and I'm going to let it soak overnight. I'm going to put some Annie Sloan wax on it. I'm going to first put a coat of clear, and then I'm going to come back with a little bit of dark wax. I have quite the collection of real stems, and all we're going to do is simply hot glue this on and hold it. You can use any kind of a basket. And I have this tall flower pot that I'm going to put in the center. I have some old burlap bags. I'm now going to take a grapevine wreath, and I like to pull it apart a little bit and just fit it right over the top. Now I have a large handful of Spanish moss, and now I'm going to place the pumpkin that we created. I'm going to add some berries. I just picked a couple sprigs up at Michael's. There is our front porch pumpkin decoration, and the beauty of this pumpkin is it will last forever.
So I grabbed this tomato cage and I took some Behr Premium Black Matte spray paint and I took it outside and I spray painted just the vertical poles of the tomato cage. Once the spray paint was fully dry and I cut off the top portion of my tomato cage, I then came in with some very heavy jute twine. You just start at one spot on the circle and you just lay your jute twine over top and hold it there until the hot glue sets. Once the hot glue sets, you just take the jute twine and you wrap it all around the circle. And then I just finish it off by securing it with a bit of hot glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process on the other side of the tomato cage. This is my finished tomato cage plant stand. I actually made two to have an elevated look for my fall moms and my fall porch. So to begin, I'm going to take this paint from Dixie Belle in the shade Dry Sage. So I'm going to take this clay dirt here and using a small stencil brush, I am going to tap it on into the semi-dry paint. Next, I'm going to take some gray black paint and I'm actually going to work it into the dirt, and then I'm going to apply that onto the vase as well. Next, I'm going to take this old wreath form that I had laying around. Then I'm going to take some artificial leaves and I'm going to take some gold wire and I'm just going to poke it through the bottom of the leaf, and then I'm going to work the leaf into the wreath form. And then I'm going to take this rustic dried floral and I'm going to work that in as well. And then this is the finished planter. Also added in some sticks that I just found in my backyard. That gives my planter some height.
The next time you are at your local dollar store, pick up some wire garden hanging baskets. Turn one wire basket upside down and place on top of a second basket. Secure together by using 3 zip ties that are placed equidistant from each other. Take a string of LED lights, hang the battery box inside the basket globe and connect to the top. Turn the lights on and wrap the lights evenly around the globe. both vertically and horizontally. Secure the end of the light string to the basket using a twist tie. Using a leafy garland of your choice, start to tuck and glue the different leaves to the wire basket globe. Now, remember all those chains and hooks that you removed from the baskets? Let's put them to good use. Reconnect these chains of different lengths to the hooks and tighten the hook back together using some pliers. If you have a porch swing, here is a fun way to hang the globes without drilling additional holes into your porch ceiling. Thread the stick through your porch swing ceiling hooks to create a horizontal rod and hang your garden globes from the branch. Use your remote to turn the lights on and enjoy the warm glow of your new outdoor lighting.
I'm now going to stencil my design onto this middle bit of the napkin. I've got a really nice dark green here. Okay. That should be enough. Now this is dry and I've cut it into 4 bits. Using an artist's brush and some water, I'm going to paint around a section of leaves because I want to pull this part out. Any glue that you've got, and then taking one of my pieces that I've cut out, going to put it onto my pumpkin like that and smooth it down. And because it's got a white background, it just blends into the pumpkin. So I'm taking the same gel medium that I used before, and then I'm going to take some gold leaf and using a very soft brush, pat it down. And here are my finished pumpkins. I think it's really nice to have glam ones for a change.
Time to break out of jail. That is the Walmart ball jail. You also need some green reindeer moss. Start by spray painting the Walmart ball with moss green spray paint. Separate the large pieces and stretch out any chunks that are thick. With a can of general spray adhesive, spritz a small portion of the ball with the adhesive. Take a small patch of green moss and press it onto the ball in the sticky area. Press and hold for a few seconds to make sure it sticks. Continue to spray the ball and attach the green moss to the outside. Once you cover the entire ball with spray adhesive and moss, give the entire moss-covered ball an overall coat of the spray adhesive. Style it in a woven basket for a textured boho look. Place in a low, colored glass bowl for a more modern look. And for a traditional look, a large ceramic pot is perfect for this moss-covered ball.
First step of this easy peasy process is going to be to paint our pumpkin white. We'll just take our decoupage paper, get a little hole inserted in it. And now that we've let our pumpkin dry, now we're going to use our decoupage medium gel. You can use Mod Podge, you can use whatever you so desire. All around the entire pumpkin and the bottom. We'll come over here, take our decoupage and begin wrapping it down. We're going to take this off. We'll just start applying our medium liberally on the bottom as well. Now that we've let our decoupage medium glue dry, now we're going to use some metallic gold here. Your jar of paint. Simple fall tutorial that looks fabulous in any home.
Head to your local Dollar Tree and pick up a lot of peel and stick subway tile. Take a degreaser spray and a rag and make sure the surface is clean. Get out the peel and stick tile sheets and begin at the top on one side of the space. Peel and stick to secure the subway tile to the existing tile. They interlock, so it makes this process a lot easier. Work your way around the tub. Take a metal ruler and a blade to trim the excess on the tub surface. Take caulk and apply it to the base and the creases for a more professional and waterproofing finish. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own easy DIY subway tile backsplash for your home for less than $50.
We started with a completely bare backsplash. Measure the length and height of each panel will need to be cut to. Now mark the panels to the correct size to be cut and cut them with the saw of your choice. I used the jigsaw and a table saw to make the cut. I found it easiest to lay the panels flat on the ground in a line as I cut them to make sure they lined up exactly. Next, you will need to take the panels in and mark where notches may need to be cut in order for the panels to fit under the cabinets. Take a tube of toothpaste and squirt a little on the corners of each outlet. Then slide your panels into place. Then remove them again and the toothpaste will have transferred to the back of the panel, showing where you need to cut the hole for the outlet. Now you're ready to set your panels in place. First, put construction adhesive on the back of the panels and then press them into place. Use a nail gun or panel nails to attach the panels into place. Now it's time for the faux finish. Sporadically paint the bricks various colors. I use white, tan, black, gray, and brown. Then use a wet rag to blend all the colors together. Lastly, spread the spackle on like a thin coat of icing.
So this is grout, like what you would use for towel. It's pre-mixed. Where the border would be on the brick, it's where you're going to put this stuff with your fingers.
I hope this inspires you to do a faux brick backsplash for your farmhouse kitchen.
So I went to the dollar store and I bought 3 bags of those vase filler gems. After sorting them, I washed them off using Blue Dawn and water and then laid them out to dry. I drew lines from the edge of the vanity to meet the mirror line. I applied a thin coat of mastic using a small notched trowel. Then the fun began as I pressed the gems into the mastic. I worked in small sections so the mastic wouldn't dry too quickly. Once I was done, I mixed the grout. I mixed 1 cup of grout to a half a cup of water. I applied the grout in small sections, making sure I was pushing it between each of the gems. I wanted to make sure that every spot was filled in between them. After 1 hour, I checked again, and yep, it was nice and dry. Using a large spun and plain water, I washed away all of the excess grout. I removed the painter's tape that I had placed on the top of the vanity and applied caulk, smoothing it out with my finger. Now, what a difference it makes, and no more splattered wall.
After updating this 1980s kitchen, I knew it needed something more. So I decided to use an adhesive tile mat along with mosaic tile sheets, white grout, and a sponge. The adhesive mat comes on a roll. When it came to the outlets, I made sure the power was off and I simply cut the mat with a razor blade so that I could create an opening around the outlet and disposal switch area. When I was ready to place the tile, I removed the white cover sheet. You can use spacers when installing the tile sheets, but I felt comfortable working without them. The work progressed pretty easily, and I was lucky that at the first corner, the tiles ended in just the right spot. When I got to the second corner, I wasn't quite so fortunate. My husband was helping me out at the tile saw while I was doing the installation, and he went ahead and cut right down the tile mosaic sheet for me. When I got to the outlet and light switch area, I was able to press the tile into place just very lightly and then cut away the tile. I added the grout and then went over it with a damp sponge to get the grout residue off of the tile surface. I rinsed and repeated the cleaning with the damp sponge several times. I added the outlet covers, my decor items, and then I was done. It was a really quick and easy project, and I think the kitchen really changed as a result. Before you spend money on expensive tile, check out this $100 idea. I used shiplap and cut it to size the length of my kitchen wall, and then I painted it using a paint sprayer. I placed my first piece in the kitchen, and I made sure to mark where the outlets were. I needed to cut just the little tongue part of the shiplap to make sure that it would not go over the outlet area. I did this using a tool called a multi-tool. It worked well for me and was really quick. I simply placed the shiplap in place and secured it using a nail gun. I continued this way up the wall. It took me 4 pieces of shiplap to get to the top of the backsplash and fit right underneath the cabinet. After that, I put my new appliances in and added little trim pieces to the edges to give my project a finished look. The entire project took only 8 pieces of shiplap total, which ended up costing well under $100 and taking only a couple of hours to complete the project from start to finish.
So I went to the dollar store and bought 35 bags of gems. They were really dusty, so I removed them from their little bags and washed them with mild soap and water. After washing them, I laid them out on a towel to dry. Several months ago, I completed a backsplash in my bathroom above the sink. People commenting on that post asked for the entire wall to be covered with gems. So here you go. I began by drawing a level line a little higher than the backsplash. Then I measured the height of that line from the floor and made marks on the wall and connected the line. Another comment on that original backsplash post was that I didn't create a pattern on the wall. So on this one, I decided to draw some seaweed. After the pattern was drawn, I began to apply mastic inside the seaweed lines, filling them in with the different sizes of green gems. I worked on small sections of the wall at a time, working my way up the wall. Once I got to where I had put the original backsplash, I added the mastic and continued with the 3 different colors of gems. It was a little hard working around the toilet, but hey, with my skinny fingers, I made it work. I really liked using the different sizes of the green inside the seaweed. I think it gave it more of a texture and a really interesting look.
When I finished applying the gems to the wall, I measured and cut a piece of chair rail and then fastened that to the wall with a brad nailer. I then took mastic and filled in the gap and then added more gems. I mixed my grout until it was the consistency of mashed potatoes. I applied the grout to the wall using a putty knife. And working in small sections, I added the grout and then removed the excess with a wet sponge. I love the way it turned out, and you can't tell where the previous backsplash ended and where the new mosaic begins. I also liked having the pattern of the seaweed, so thanks for the suggestion. I hope this inspires you to look for hidden gems at your dollar store.
I recently noticed that my cabinets and my appliances were starting to turn yellow in my laundry room. It started to annoy me, so I decided to give the room a little love, but on a very tight budget. I used painter's tape and taped off the back edge behind the washer and dryer. I painted the back ledge behind the washer and dryer with Dixie Belle paint in the color Hurricane. I painted the yellowing part of the washer and dryer with Dixie Belle fluff paint, and then I followed that up with the Hurricane gray. Removed all the hardware from the cabinets and then wiped them clean. I bought some hybrid contact wallpaper online. I placed the contact paper on all of the doors and the sides of the cabinets. The contact paper was all in place. I was ready to put the new handles in the cabinets. I added a peel and stick backsplash to the laundry sink as well. I hope this inspires you to do an inexpensive laundry room update of your own.